Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Caroline. I'm going to start doing these more often. You're not meant to be in it. I'm going to try and do 2 a week just because I love doing them and you guys seem to be loving them. So what can I tell you about this week? First of all, let's go back to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I literally just had a business meeting. A friend of mine came over to discuss, partnering on a business. And what all we talked about was Ryan Reynolds and whatever her name is, Blake Lively. Just saying, what a massive fuck up, which is hilarious. And I can't believe he went on SNL and made a joke about everything, which kind of is in one way, I think they are geniuses. On the other way, I think he's an idiot because there's no empathy or, sorry or any admission of feeling bad about the situation they're all in or may have created or what a shit show they're in. I mean, I do understand on doubling down, I do, because if you don't want to admit guilt before there is any, but you also want to, take seriously what you're in and not make a joke of it. So, I think that was a bit of a huge PR mistake. But anyway, it's funny. So I think today we took possession of next apartment, which has taken ages, by the way. God, it's hard work over here. Just to do get a check from the bank took 3 weeks. It's just nuts how much backlog in this country is. I mean, I suppose it's to show that the economy's doing really well, but fuck my life. When you want to get anything done, it just takes weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You're in the system. You're in a system. But anyway, finally it's going to start the build, hopefully next week. And I can't wait to take you on the journey of this one because each one will be different. So the whole premise is really of all my apartments that we're doing out here is that you can stay in a very, very different one. So every time you'll want to visit a different one and have a look at them and you'll have a different experience. This one is next to Arts Club and Zuma. So I think this is a masculine pad, a boys, late night house, wink, wink. So I'm going to have a lot of fun designing this one with Kate and having so much fun because I think this will be a really, really fun one to do. And then the next one, God knows where. I'm going scouting on Monday to have a look. But who knew this would give me such a lease of life? I'm really enjoying it and I'm enjoying the fact that I have no days unbooked. Can't believe it. I was a bit nervous. My staff moved into their new apartment too, so that's really exciting. I haven't only been there once, but it looks really, really nice, and that's a long-term game. I'm figuring that outside Ferrari it will suddenly shoot up because there's no more houses here, and they're developing around there all the time. But it's funny because, people keep going to me, don't you feel like the bubble will, oh my God, I forgot to tell you. Actually, I'm not gonna tell you just in case it doesn't happen. Don't you think the bubble will burst in Dubai? No, I don't. I don't, because everyone's moving here and everywhere else in the world is so fucking scary that everyone's moving here. So there's just gonna be more and more people coming. So if you're not in the market, get in the fucking market and hurry up. Because there's only 2 to 3 years more of this, I think, probably, this craziness. Then what else is in my life? Oh, the retreat. So thank you all for your interest. I just think you need to look up Elizabeth Pearson. She's amazing because obviously she is a no-nonsense life coach. I know I'm not, I've just had a lot of life. She's a no-nonsense life coach and she's a bit like me. So pull up your pants and off we go. And I really like that, as I said, because when you do these one-on-ones and you do these sort of hot seats where we all tell our stories and everything, I do feel that people that aren't attached to you can give really, really, really good advice. And I do feel I got a lot of messages yesterday going, why can't you do it in New York and closer to home? I will do one in New York eventually. I don't know when, whether it's this year or next year. But I really, really, really wanted to feel, for me too, completely disconnected from everything. I feel like Arizona is where a lot of these health spas are, and I feel like by the time you get on the plane and you've got somewhere, you feel like you've really got somewhere. And I also think, by the way, someone taught me this, unless you spend money on something and it hurts, you don't really do it. So everything that I've really invested in, I invest in myself because I think women, we're not so good at investing in ourselves. And I've always gone, maybe I shouldn't have that, or I shouldn't do that, I've got to be sensible. Or, I've now decided I want to take a course, or I want to do this or that, right? And I go to these things. I actually really see the benefit. Even if it's one sentence that came out of it, just one light bulb moment, it's worth it to me. I went to Tony Robbins, I went to, I've been listening a lot to that Mel Robbins, by the way, not that they're related, but, there's another one, like she thinks like me, right? And I think I love the let them be. I had this conversation with my husband last night because he doesn't agree with let them be. He thinks there's too much temptation. And if you let people be, they will just literally run the other way. And look, I don't know what to say. You know, a friend of mine here today as well, saying, you know, it's so hard in Dubai because everyone's an Instagram model and, you know, they've had babies and maybe you don't look the same way we get older. I mean, it's why I was laughing so that much that my husband thinks I'm such a prize. Like, I live in a town where everyone has to be like 19 and G-string, so I don't understand why he thinks I'm the prize at 48 with 3 kids here, that everyone's like looking at me and trying to get me. It's hilarious, but let's not burst that bubble, so don't put that in the comments. But, you know, she was saying that, you know, these girls, like they you know, see you live this lifestyle, which obviously everybody does on Instagram and all of this, and it is a very glamorous lifestyle out here. Most people have a glamorous lifestyle, especially if you've been here for a long time. You have really, this country has awarded you a lot of good things. So I feel like, you know, that, what was I gonna say? I've just lost my train of thought. Oh my God. Oh yeah, so what happens is all these young girls come here and it's quite transactional, and they see a husband who maybe has a wife decked in jewelry or has a nice house or has whatever and thinks it's easy to get, right? And it's drawing that line of being able to separate your men from having a life and let them be, to putting boundaries in for them where, you know, obviously they can't. I mean, what do I think about a boys' holiday? I mean, I don't do girls' holidays anymore, obviously, because I think Sergio would literally burst into flames. And with my ex-husband, I don't, did he do boys' holidays? He did one a year. He did one a year. And actually, I think it was a ski trip, if I remember rightly. It was a ski trip, which I think they're active and they're doing things and you can see they're on the slope. She was telling me that they went to, I don't know, I can't remember. I have one friend that's husband always goes to Amsterdam, another one that goes to, you know, some Eastern European country, and you're like, okay. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if that's the kind of boys' trip my husband particularly needs. I do understand his point, and I respect his point as a young man that, you know, the less he's faced with things in front of him, the less he needs it, so he just doesn't put himself in compromising positions, and I do respect that. But I also think that you should have enough, like, I love my life enough, and he loves his life enough, that, you know, if you are in front of some gorgeous supermodel, you can also keep your dick in your pants. I don't understand. So, like, I want to say, let them be. They want to go on holiday? Go on holiday. You want to stay home? Stay home. You want to go out with the boys? Go out with the boys. You know, what I do feel is that some of the boys like to lead other boys down the garden path. I don't like the peer pressure so much, and I think that's where Sergio's worry comes from, because he was a soccer player, and they kind of like, you know, locker room shit, which I think at a certain age, I hope at a certain age, doesn't, you know, of course you're going to go out on a boys' trip and there'll be one husband that's, you know, playing away from home, and it doesn't mean you have to. Like, I'd hope you have enough of your own mind to decide for yourself. But apparently not these days. I don't know, you know, like, I don't know what the answer is, because I don't think caging people is the answer. Do I think too much freedom? Well, maybe, because I had that, my ex-husband had that. You know, maybe that's, it's not about too much freedom that you can both have affairs, because that's by the by. But what too much freedom does is, I suppose, is you get different lives. You get different friends, you get different interests, you know. And actually another thing that I've realized about Dubai is, okay, so people come here and they maybe don't have a lot of money or haven't had a lot of money, and then they make a lot of money, right? And so then they become hamsters on this hamster wheel of wanting to make a lot of money. And I guess I was 100% there before. I had investors and I was, you know, had 87 employees or whatever it was. And I was always like wanting more because I had more. And now I look at them and I go, God, I'm exhausted for you, just listening. No, I don't want that life. It really scares me more than anything. It scares me more than not having money, is having that life. Because, you know, everyone thinks that the more money you produce, the less problems you'll have. Absolutely not. It just generates more problems. I mean, family wants to abuse you, people that work for you, headaches, you know, the whole thing. Like, no, 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 no. My entire second chapter of my life is about making a nice, easy life, one that I can still enjoy peacefully, having done all of that shit in my 20s and 30s. So that is the problem here, because then what happens is they're all so geared to making money, and then, you know, they want more things, they want bigger things. Everything here is showing each other how much you have and what you have, how many cars you have. Like, I always say my motto now is like, well, what would 10 million quid do for me tomorrow? Or, you know, 5 even, just buy more of the same shit. I've got a car, I've got a house, go on holiday, Like I'd literally just buy more of the same shit. Is it gonna change my life? Not particularly, no. I'd just have another house, but then I've got to have more staff for that house, and it's bloody painful. So no, I think careful what we wish for is my motto today. Careful what you wish for, because you might not realize that you already have it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coffee with Caroline, short and sharp.